Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Yeah, as you rightly point out, I am with ANC NEC member David Mahlobo. Sir, good afternoon. Thank you so very much for joining us. Now, policy conference is now over. The President has made his closing remarks. Firstly, your general take on that.
We are very pleased that the ANC 6th National Policy Conference went ahead without any difficulties. And especially looking at the number of people that were brought here, comrades from various organizations, our structures, across the length and breadth of our country. And one of the most important things, when His Excellency Comrade President was closing, was to thank the delegates for their singular focus on the task at hand, to review the ANC policies in terms of our performance since the last 54th National Conference. There is a lot of progress that we have made in a number of areas, but admittedly, there are a number of areas where certain policy propositions have not been implemented, and some of those policies are being reviewed. There is a refinement, but new policy positions are also being proposed by the ANC. But the ANC is acutely aware that it remains the only viable option and a solution for the dreams and aspirations of many of our South Africans. Then the ANC must be able to restore itself and have the capability to discharge the revolution in terms of creating the kind of a society that we promise our people. Therefore, the issues around the economy, well articulated, but we are asking that those who are deployed in government, they must be able to move with speed to implement the economic reforms, the economic reconstruction and recovery plan, especially to alleviate the biggest burden that is faced by our people. A number of young people are not employed, and a number of people are living in poverty. There is issues of food insecurity, as you see right now, because of the global issues, and these are some of the issues that His Excellency had addressed.
There's a very interesting contradiction in South African society, where on the one hand, as you point out, a large number of youths are sitting unemployed, and then they see government employees meant to serve them, busy with rampant corruption. How does the ANC propose closing that gap to ensure that those that are in government do what they're supposed to and not steal from the unemployed and the poor?
One of the issues that is coming up in a number of commissions of the ANC, because there was a dedication of a cross-cutting theme around fighting corruption and dealing with issues of state capture. When it comes to the employees of the state, government is looking at mostly the issues of integrity management, the issues of vetting. Some of those programs have already started in some of the departments in the state, and we want those issues to be rolled out even to local government, to provincial government, which is the most important issues. The enforcement around the issues of those that are doing business with the state. These are some of the interventions, but also politically. The issues of integrity and morality in the ANC is high on the agenda, that the leaders and the ANC members will need to be judged at the highest level in terms of morality. In our own case, we are looking at strengthening of the Integrity Commission, but at the very same time, we're also looking at vetting even those that will be standing. But all investigative reports, whether it's Zondo, whether it's SIU, whether Section 106, we are saying they must be implemented without fail.
Yet there is, within the ANC, there are some who believe that the issue of step aside must be done away with. Obviously, the President touched on it in his closing remarks. We spoke earlier to, for instance, the Deputy Chairperson of KZN, who said, look, they are going to push ahead with it, and they are going to try and get even more provinces to join them in their push. So how do you justify this issue of people must be held accountable, but there are some within the ANC that say no, step aside must be done away with?
What we have agreed overwhelmingly, the view of the National Policy Conference, is that the decision of the 54th National Conference to deal with morality must be implemented. And the instrument that has been made by the ANC NEC to say those that are already indicted by the courts of law, we are saying that they must be stepping aside. those that are implicated without actually being indicted, they must appear in the Integrity Commission. There is no dispute about those particular issues, but the concern that comrades are raising is the application, is the issues of consistency, and is the issues of fairness. One of the biggest issues that has always been spoken about in the ANC, including in the country, is the weaponization around the issues of discipline, how law enforcement agencies must be able to work. That's why even in our own commission we discuss it, that the law must have no eyes, it must bite. Those who are actually deployed in doing law enforcement must act without any fear or favor or contradiction. And there must not be any interference by those in authority. When there is any interference, there are legislative mechanisms to report it, to deal with it. But this matter that is raised by comrades, we are not dismissive. We will continue to engage with them and be able to say, how do we perfect the system as the ANC matures? Even the Communist Party of China, with its own anti-corruption commission, it took a number of years to be able to perfect the system. But when it comes to morality and integrity, they are well respected. Even themselves, over the last few days, there's an issue that probably there are those in authority who are using it. And in our case, we are acutely aware that there is those concerns, whether they are justified or not justified, the ANC must listen to them, and we find a way to close ranks around the most important decision we've made.
Is the African National Congress still fit to govern South Africa?
The ANC always remains fit to govern because it remains the only viable option in our democratic dispensation to carry the dreams and aspirations of our shared vision of a non-racial, non-sexist and prosperous society. But equally, the ANC has made missteps. That's why the issues of renewal is a non-negotiable, because the ANC must be able to respond and renew itself so that its historic mission to actually liberate our people from all those socio-economic bondages is realized. If we don't do that, the ANC will face an existential crisis.
All right. Sir, thank you very much. We really do appreciate you and for taking the time to talk to us. Well, there you have it, Stephen. ANC NEC member admitting that the ANC, if it fails to implement its policies going forward from here on out, it will face an existential crisis, he says. My understanding of that is that the ANC will lose power and that it will no longer be a leader of society. Over to you in studio.